This week on MLS Insider.
We knew that Egypt was looking for a head coach. Thought, okay, this is a unique opportunity.
It's our chance to focus on this special opportunity that we have to go to the World Cup.
They were the best American soccer team, and they were the first truly American soccer team. It's important for Americans to realize that it's not a game that started with Pele.
When I got fired by the U.S., I was thinking about the next challenge. But when you get let go in July, the timing's not perfect. And a month later, we knew that Egypt was looking for a head coach because when I worked in the U.S., my goalkeeper coach was Zach Abdel. And Zach is Egyptian-American. But through Zach, they made contact, went and visited, and thought, okay, this is a unique opportunity, an amazing challenge. Sat down with my wife and we said, okay, we're gonna try, we're gonna go for it. When you get there, nothing is below the radar screen because the recognition factor is through the roof. And at a certain point, you accept it. I'll never forget, my wife and I were walking to the market in the area near where we live, and a taxi went by and stopped. And a woman got out of the taxi and walked over to us and said, "I want to thank you and your wife for everything you do." When I got there, all that anybody talked about was the World Cup, because during this period of success in the African Cup of Nations, there had been failure to qualify for the World Cup. You know, I don't know much Arabic, but I learned early that Casa Alam means World Cup, because that's what people would talk about, always. Casa Alam, Brazil, we must go to Brazil.
Everyone in Egypt is challenged by what's going on every day.
And so when I went to Egypt, I knew it would be a test of all of the skills that I had accumulated over the years, like a final exam to say, how good are you at sizing up people, situations, managing.
When we come in together, it's our chance to focus on this special opportunity that we have to go to the World Cup.
So I knew it was going to be a total challenge. But what I didn't expect at all was Port Said. Port Said changed the landscape forever because the league stopped. Players no longer knew if they had careers. And yet, in the midst of all that, the one thing that didn't change was the goal to get to the World Cup. So we had to adjust. We figured out ways to have camps and friendlies when the teams weren't up and running, when players weren't getting paid. And we would say to the players over and over that when we play our first World Cup qualifier in June, none of this matters. That on that day, we're going to put 11 on the field, they're going to put 11 on the field, and the ref's going to blow the whistle, and it's 90 minutes. It's been difficult, tough, but at the same time, this feeling that we are trying to get to the World Cup. The response of the players to the challenges, the belief that they have that we can do this, that's a strong sense of motivation for all of us and what we're doing. We can't let any of the trouble and the distractions take us away from this goal, because the people of Egypt are counting on the team. As a coach, you draw on previous experiences all the time. Things that were done well, things that remind you of situations that you face. The group that we had in Chicago turned out to be really special. But in the early part of that season, it was still coming together. Everyone was still trying to get to know each other. And at a certain point, you could tell that we had something that was different. And the players in Egypt, as I've gotten to know them, get a sense of their backgrounds, what they're all about. I have great respect for these guys. I like them. And I do think that an outsider's perspective during this difficult period has actually helped. Because I think the perspective that says, look, yeah, things are tough right now, but it doesn't change our chance. It doesn't change our opportunity. So far, I think that's been part of our strength. You know, the experiences in Africa are really incredible. You know, the children that you see in Africa, the hope that they have in their eyes, the smiles that they have. They love football, they love being around the game, they love touching a ball. And so, you know, you appreciate what you see around you. You know, the world of football in Africa is an amazing one.
Coming up on MLS Insider.
Soccer wasn't born yesterday in America.
We were very much the quintessential Milltown. We were the Bethlehem of Bethlehem Steel. It was a company that once employed as many as like 30, 35,000 people in a city of 75,000. If they put their might behind it, they can get it done, whether it was the producer shipper day for the World War II effort or an absolutely world-class football team.
Here's what I would say about the Bethlehem Steel Soccer Club. They were the best American soccer team, and they were the first truly American soccer team. The earliest Bethlehem soccer team is playing around 1907, staffed with men who happened to work at the Bethlehem Steel Company. Amateur, they're playing other local clubs. There is no professional soccer in the United States. At some point, the Bethlehem Steel Company in 1914 takes the club over and begins to finance it, and then it becomes the Bethlehem Steel Soccer Club. I mean, it's important to understand that in the 19-teens, during the First World War, the Bethlehem Steel Company became the largest corporation in the world. And so the soccer club ends up coming under their general athletic program.
Wave after wave of European immigrants coming to work in the mill, and they also were pretty good soccer players. It's a heck of a good base for a workforce for a steel company and a really good base for a soccer team.
When they came, they had real jobs in the factory. You know, they worked 5 days a week. They played on the weekend. Soccer was rising fast and was on its way to becoming part of the fabric of the American sport scene. The Bethlehem Steel Company built the first soccer stadium in the United States. That's called Steel Field. Moravian College uses that now as their football stadium. That was built for the Bethlehem Steel athletic program, and it was the finest soccer stadium in North America at that time. In the 19-teens, the Bethlehem Steel is the powerhouse in the United States. They won 5 national championships, 5 U.S. Open Cups. They won 6 American Cups. It actually became monotonous because every year they would be the team that would be winning. 15 members of the Bethlehem Steel Soccer Club are members of the National Soccer Hall of Fame. A lot of that early generation of soccer pioneers in this country came out of this club or came through this club. The story of the Bethlehem Steel Soccer Club is the story of American soccer in the 19-teens and the 1920s. American soccer rose with the fortunes of the Bethlehem Steel Club, and it collapsed when the Bethlehem Steel Club pulled out of that league.
So when we started this club, we had some thoughts about really connecting back to the past. And we picked Bethlehem Steel because it was the most successful professional soccer team in the 100-plus year history. The connectivity to the Bethlehem area and the roots of soccer in that area are great. Not just creating a third kit with different colors and some fancy designs, but really developing something meaningful that you can go back into the community with and connect with that community and marry the Philadelphia Union badge with a badge of our ancestry, of our heritage.
I think it's great that the Union is tapping into that kind of history and for the team and the culture of the long history of soccer here in this region.
Obviously, the Philadelphia Union crest is over the heart on the left-hand side, which is always there. And right below it is a felt B, which is what they used on their uniform. And then on the inside is the original Bethlehem Steel logo. Philadelphia Union on the outside, Bethlehem Steel on the inside.
It's important for Americans to realize that it's not a game that started with Pele, that Americans have been playing soccer for a very long time. Soccer wasn't born yesterday in America.
I really believe, philosophically, if you want to manage your future, you really have to understand your past. Especially when sports teams are so vitally dependent on the community that they live in. So honoring Bethlehem and honoring their past and their history in that city is a real deep connecting point to the present, which is the Philadelphia Union. Because at the end of the day, these teams don't belong to anybody other than the fans. Players come and go, owners of teams come and go, fans will always be there.
Coming up on MLS Insider.
So Mike, do you ever stop and think, I can't believe I am the head coach of the New York Red Bulls? Hey everyone, it's me, Jimmy Conrad, your favorite MLS player of all time. And now that I've stopped kicking the ball around with other grown men in small shorts, someone had the good idea of giving me the platform to interview important people in the game. And next up is former player, enforcer, and fan favorite in New York, who has now become the very well-dressed head coach of the Red Bulls, Mike Petke, on the show my friends like to call MLS Insider. So Mike, do you ever stop and think, maybe you're in the grocery store looking at all the cereals, or maybe you're here in your lovely home and go, I can't believe I am the head coach of the New York Red Bulls?
First of all, I never go to the grocery store, Jimmy. I stopped that years and years
Once you became
ago.
coach, you didn't have to do that anymore,
I had a
right?
fight with the checkout lady once, and I'm not allowed to go there anymore. Absolutely. It's my hometown club that drafted me. Family and friends are in the area, and it's the club that I have my loyalty to. To be the head coach of them is unbelievable. So yes, I ask myself all the time, am I really the coach of the Red Bulls?
Okay, so when it became official, were you like, hey, I can't do the bleach blonde hair anymore. I can't do the breathe right strips over the nose. I can't have the goatee. I can't make revenge t-shirts about Mamadou Diallo. Those days are over.
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily? Okay, I like that. But But now you're in charge, right? You have a minivan, probably. You're a dad. And you wanted to bring sweater vests back to the sideline. Talk to me through that process.
I'll have to give your agent a call, actually, because I believe that this is trademarked, to be honest, especially in the...
I actually wore this outfit in honor of you.
I know you, obviously.
I read some article in Esquire, and this is the way it's got to go.
Listen, I'm a sweater vest guy. When I go back to watching rap videos I used to love and seeing Mace, Puffy, Biggie, all these guys rocking the sweater vest in the early to mid 90s, saying, I'm going to pull that off one day. Well, this is the day.
Nice. It's you've come a long way since your playing days. Now, you got to tell me if I'm hot and cold with this. One, Thierry Henry was probably a big advocate for you to get the job. Then he probably got a little frustrated with how things were going. Maybe he didn't have your back like he once did, which then led to a power struggle, which then led to a confrontation on the field, which then led to you two having to talk and saying that there can only be one person in charge and that one person has to be you, which then led to you not starting him, which then led to you earning respect from the locker room, which then led to you guys going on this unstoppable run. Am I hot or cold? Hot or cold?
I could tell you this first, if you're hot or cold. You should write that down, print it up, send it to Hollywood. That's a movie right there. That's perfect.
That's a good movie.
Listen, I said it all, it's something that has been beat to death over the last month.
I tried to put a different spin on it.
No, you're more cold than hot. Thierry is somebody who people see on the field getting frustrated and they make assumptions. And they couldn't be farther from the truth with their assumptions. He is somebody who's so dedicated to this team, to this league, who wants to win. What transpired was something that happens all over the world in every sport. It was two big personalities colliding after a couple of losses. At the end of the day, we're all on the same page, and that actually was necessary from my standpoint, from Thierry's standpoint, from the team's standpoint.
So you're saying I'm lukewarm?
I'm saying that...
I'll take the lukewarm.
I'm saying I'm closing the file on this. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. Now, what would Mike Petke, the coach, think of Mike Petke, the player?
Oh, God. He'd probably be traded, honestly, the first couple of weeks because two strong personalities like that, a little psychotic in there, they couldn't coexist.
Do you remember, as a player, when a coach was yelling on the sideline and he was doing this and that and saying, hey, you got to do this and you got to do that, and you'd be in the middle of the field going, well, hey, we can't hear you, so whatever you're saying has no impact whatsoever. Yeah. But now you're on the other side of things. So when you're on the sideline doing all that kind of stuff, do you know the players are just kind of like, yeah, whatever, Mike, we got it.
That's one thing I do. I know I have to bottle and get under control. But it's my first year. I can't just turn things off. That's who I am. I wasn't named the head coach of the Red Bulls and I changed and I became this cliched, veteran coach overnight. No, not at all. This is who I am. There are obviously some things I have to change. And
more like rein in, I think.
I'm working, that's a good point. I'm working on that on a daily basis, but they know I'm passionate. They know my personality, the players, so that I know they don't take offense to it and they don't read into it too much.
So if the Red Bulls don't win a championship, do you view your time as coach as a failure?
I view success in many different ways, and I'm sure it's different than a lot of people. If I could change this club in any way possible in the positive, from putting an identity to this club to identifying a character for this club, a character that backs to the wall is going to do everything they can to work, which you've seen in many games this year. And to me, which of all things, to be honest with you, being part of this club for so long, we've never had. And I'm always encouraging my players to come on, get a little physical. I'm not saying be dirty, but, let them know. Almost the last thing I say before every game is don't make this easy on the team. Let them know from the first whistle who's in control. And that's the type of team I like, type of player I like.
Well, Mike, you're a big influence as a player, and now you have even bigger influence as a coach, and I wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate it, Jimmy. I love the sweater, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. You too. Looks nice.
Coming up on MLS Insider.
Welcome to MLS Storytime Theater. Welcome to MLS Storytime Theater. I'm the world champion, Judah Friedlander. Today's story is called The Kid and the League That Needed Him. When it comes to hair, the world champion takes second place to no man or woman, or mammal for that matter. But there is one person on earth I'm willing to share first place with, Carlos Valderrama. Just hearing myself say the name Valderrama makes my follicles tingle. You can't see them under my hat, but trust me, they're tingling. Valderrama arrived in MLS in year 1, 1996. And unless FIFA lifts their stupid ban on me, Valderrama will remain the greatest player the league has ever seen. He came with the nickname El Pibe, which means the kid. And even though he was 34 years old, he played the game like little boys do in their wildest dreams. In a foot race, Valderrama probably would have lost to everyone else on the pitch, so he let the ball do the running for him. Valderrama seemed to know where the ball wanted to be before the ball knew itself. Some people said he had mind control sensors actually embedded in his hair, and they might be right. He set the MLS record for assists in a season with 26, a record so unbreakable that I will color my own hair yellow if someone equals it. In fact, I might just do that anyway. That's how much I love the guy. Is it a coincidence that 2 of the 3 highest goal-scoring seasons in MLS history, Roy Lassiter's 27 in '96 and Mamadou Diallo's 26 in 2000, came at Valderrama's side? No, not a coincidence at all. Even Pelé, a guy who knows a thing or two about coming to America and doing well on the pitch, named Valderrama one of the greatest players of the 20th century. Next time you watch a game and the stands are packed, and the supporters clubs are singing and chanting and going crazy, and everyone is cheering together, I want you to remember that a lot of people said this would never happen here in the USA. The world champion knew it would happen, but a lot of other people said no way. And as much as any player could have, Carlos Valderrama made the dream real. International superstar, MLS MVP, MLS Supporters Shield winner, MLS all-time best 11 member, best hair in MLS history. Sorry, Alexi Lawless, Frankie Haydick, Kyle Beckerman, and Mike Petke, and the rest of you too. Quintuple winner, Carlos Valderrama. I'm the world champion, Judah Friedlander. Join me next time for MLS Storytime Theater.
On the next MLS Insider.
In stoppage time at the end of the match, the substitute Villarreal.
Even though my dad is Mexican, he roots for the U.S. now, so it's all good. I love the U.S.